Okay, Landon, I have to know, what does that shirt say?
Dukes.
Duke's Mayo.
Duke's Mayonnaise.
And if you're from the South, you ought to know what that means.
Absolutely.
The reigning mayonnaise king.
Okay, can I tell y'all a confession? I
Yes.
watched a short of yours where you're talking about Duke's on a fried green BLT sandwich, and I have to tell you, I've never heard of Duke's. I've never tasted Duke's. I don't know about Duke's.
Well, I tell you that Duke's fans are prolific, so they'll show up and let you know about it pretty quickly. They're all over the place. All you have to do is mention mayonnaise, and the Duke's people come out. But it's good. It's really good. It's a lot like, it's got a little bit of a vinegar base to it, so it's a little different, but it's really great.
I'm not going to say, she said, is it like Miracle Whip?
No, Lord, no, my Lord.
I was a
My
Miracle Whip
Lord.
girl.
No. No.
My sandwich, my go-to sandwich when I was in school was 2 pieces of white Wonder Bread, 2 ultra-thick deli slices, probably like a 1.5 of American cheese, and then just straight Miracle Whip. And then I'd put, if I was real frisky, some salt and vinegar chips on that.
Well, that is very bold of you to share with everybody that you have Miracle Whip on your sandwich.
I'm an Iowa girl. All right, I'll get educated. So we're here today with Landon Talks, the all-famous Southern charmer of everything that you need to know about what it takes and what it means to live in the South, know the lingo of the South, and he is a ball of fun. And this is actually just a ploy to get you to come be our best friend.
I'm so glad. I think I already am in. I'm down. I'm down for it.
Well, tell us about your upbringing and
Yes.
how you got to be as fabulous as you are.
Well, I didn't mean to, but here we are. So I just am from a very small town in Mississippi, Laurel, Mississippi, and it is
Laurel,
just
that's the
best
town
place.
where we're from. Laurel.
Yeah.
Okay. I was
Yeah, right down there. And so it's the best little place, and I just grew up here, living on the same street as like my whole family. Like all my cousins are around here, so we were the get outside and don't come back till dark, drink out of the water hose, get some blackberries from the garden, that kind of an upbringing, and it felt special, but you know how the South is pictured. So when you consume media from like the 80s and 90s, it didn't seem, we were like, oh, we're not that special, but it felt like it was here. Anyways, so I grew up here and I had a great time, and then I went to all the colleges in Mississippi and bounced around from those because I have pretty severe ADHD. But I finally graduated from the University of Southern Mississippi at the end and went to work. And then I just one day I talked too much, and I was talking at my wife, like in her direction. And as her eyes glazed over, she was like, "What if you told your stories to the internet?" And that's the nicest way she could have said, like, stop talking to me. And so I did. And I started telling the story of Walmart High School, and I would love to tell that to y'all if y'all didn't hear it.
Yes.
yes.
Okay, well, let's do it then. So I told the first story I really told was Walmart High School, and I really legitimately went to Walmart High School. I really did. In 8th grade, our school got blown away by a tornado. And to tell you how we feel about tornadoes, I was camping in the woods during this tornado. Didn't know the tornado was even a thing. And then my dad came up and got us, and he was like, "Your school got blown down." And we were like, "No," but it did. It really did. But it was on a Friday night on spring break, so nobody got hurt. So it wasn't like sad. But then we had to finish the rest of the school year out. But the town had just got a new super Walmart, and the old regular Walmart was empty, but all the things were still there. Like the shelves were gone, but all the signs.
You had a little Nova League Nation.
Mm-hmm. All the signs were there. All the things were there. And they decided that the solution to that, to put a 7th through 12th grade in that one building with cubicles. So it was like one room that we were in, basically. So you could hear everything in every room. They spent like 2 days pretending we were having school. It was a mess. You could start clapping and the whole building would clap across the building. You would get hit in the head with a piece of paper that somebody threw over the wall. The cafeteria was literally the garden center. I had show choir and layaway. Art was the snack building. It's the truth. And they put
This
the
is
8th grade.
exactly what I needed today.
Yes, it's the most truth. It's like really real. And 8th grade was in the baby section, and that just got all over me. Like I was so mad at them for putting us in the baby section, like.
Is that a scared stiff moment? Like,
How could y'all do that? I guess. Guess that's what they were going for. I don't know.
How long were you all there?
The rest of that school year, people graduated from Walmart High School, and we took our state test in that school, and then the governor pardoned them and was like, "Never mind, y'all don't have to take these." So I didn't have to take the Algebra 1 state test like everybody else, but I still did good in college algebra, so it's okay. But yeah, that was real. And there are many more stories from that time period that are just absurd. Like our principals, the first day they showed up and every day I think they continued, they wore Walmart vests, and like the bell was an air horn and the intercom was the Walmart intercom. So everybody knew your business. It was just a mess. We had computer discovery, like where we learned how to use computers with no computers.
Why did this not make it to an episode of Young Sheldon?
Why was this not a whole series created in and of
Right.
itself?
So
Well,
we need to get people
This
on the
is
phone.
hilarious.
let's make it happen. We'll make it
Let's
happen.
do it.
Couldn't
But
make Central Casting couldn't make this up.
no, and it's just the real truth. Like that was what they decided to do, and that building is still there. And some people who graduated from Walmart High School work in that building because the hospital owns it, and it's like the hospital administration. So yeah, Walmart changed your life. But
Now,
so
did it say when they graduated? Did it say Walmart High School?
their actual diplomas said West Jones, but I think we did make like something along those lines. Tess Holliday is like a famous model, and she graduated from there. Like, there's a few people that really noteworthy people that went to Walmart to high school, and they really did. It was a blast. I mean, it was like a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun at Walmart High School. Not much learning, but lots of fun. But when I was talking about Walmart, I said things like fixin' to and might could just in my natural speech. And that's where this all started, because people were like, what do you mean fixin' to? And that like broke my brain. I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean fixin' to? You know,
It's
what do
like
you mean?
Making groceries.
Like how do yeah, Louisiana making groceries.
Making groceries.
So exactly. So I was like, well, let's discuss fixin' to. And then here we are with these discussions a year later, and it blew up almost immediately. And
You've only been doing this a year?
March of last year was when I did that.
Because
Walmart video.
hold on, you previously were an art teacher, right?
I was for almost 10 years.
You never had to go looking for those supplies. They were already there.
It's all there with all these little kids. I spent the last like 10 years with 4-year-olds through 6th graders. So I think that's kind of the way I approach my videos, is like I'm talking to the 4-year-olds again, you know, because we were just trying to stay on our stools and not hurt each other and be as nice as we could most of the time. So that's kind of how I approach the content.
Will you give everybody listening, one of my favorite videos of yours is talking about the cookie container and the dishes, like the containers.
The Cool Whip.
Gosh,
It's
none
never
of
Cool
that.
Whip.
It's not Cool Whip. It's really not. And really don't. Those cookies are not cookies. And just don't even let yourself think it. And then maybe on the 1% chance that it is cookies, it'll be a great surprise. But just don't get any hopes up. Nothing in the fridge is what the label says, unless there's like a handwritten label. The handwritten labels are mostly true. But if it says like country crock, that's not butter.
That's a gumbo.
And the sherbet.
Something else is rice and gravy. It's rice and gravy.
Yeah, those little clear sherbet containers. Those are not sherbet. There's a lot of disappointing things, but it's all good stuff in there. But it's not what it's not what you thought it would be.
It's how I like it. Our TV guide used to mess up, and I was a big fan of the Cheers show. And a lot of times I go thinking I was going to watch Cheers, and on the TV guide it would say Cheers, and I'd go to the program and it would be MASH, and I would be like, son of a...
Yes, that's exactly the feeling.
Every time.
It's exactly that feeling. And those cookies specifically are so disappointing because they're always so in supplies, but they look like they were. And I got tricked when I was younger because my great grandma was friends with the lady from the Netherlands, and her cookie tins had cookies in them. And so I've always been like fond of the Dutch since then. I was like, they have real cookies.
I am slightly Amish obsessed myself.
There you go.
Obsessed with the Amish.
As far as I know, they have real cookies in their cookie tins, but it could have just been this one lady. I don't know. But yes, you got to watch out for the containers.
Okay. How do you clean your cast iron skillet?
Ooh, you wanted to get controversial immediately, right off the gate. So cast iron skillets are a controversy and it comes down to lye soap. There's not lye in soap anymore. And that used to really mess with the metal of it, obviously. But so you season your cast iron skillet, right? And that makes I think people get confused about, it's not flavor in the cast iron skillet. You're seasoning the metal and like
you're kind of sealing it.
You make a seal with it. So you can use soap because it's sealed like that and it's not going to mess with it. And the soap doesn't have lye, so it doesn't break the seal. So there's like generations of people who will swear that you cannot use soap on your cast iron skillets. And that's fine with me also. But you can use soap on your cast iron skillets and just a little bit of dish soap, and then you can re-season it. It's not hard. Just wipe some oil on it, whatever high point oil you got, and low and slow for a few hours, and it'll come out glassy. But they can be real controversial. Don't start talking about that on the internet unless you're ready for it.
Or at the family reunion. They'll kick you
Yes,
out.
exactly. Yes, exactly.
Do people come at you with like all kinds of topics every day?
They do. It like makes the job easy. And at first, when I started this like Let's Discuss thing last year, I was like, I'm going to run out of things to say, but I'm not at all, because I know the listeners can't see this, but I have this list on my phone of content ideas, and I just add to it every day. I don't know if you can see, and it's just so big, and I just add to it.
Smokes.
I don't even have to leave my house sometimes to add something to it. Like one day, my grandma came in my house, and I was like, well, how are you doing, Grandma? And she was like, well, I'd have to feel better to die. And I was like, wait, let me put that in my list. That is very good. Hold on.
So I know you can be feeling my phone's been over here. Brr, 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 all my cousins.
All your Mississippi cousins?
Yeah, all my Mississippi cousins. What are the best Southern grandma nicknames?
Oh, they're such good ones. And it depends on your personality too, right? Like Grandma straight up.
And the second question is, how do you feel about monograms?
Hey, I love a monogram. Let's have put a monogram on it, personalize it, get a vanity plate and put a monogram on it. But you got to be careful with monograms because you got to think about the kids' names ahead of time, because monograms are in different order. They're not first, middle, last.
Right.
I think boys can be in that order, but girls are separate. But anyways, you'll be spelling a cussing word if you don't look out. You got to get their names right before you get a monogram on it. Mm-hmm. What were we talking about for monograms, though? There was something else.
Grandma names.
Grandma names. Oh, yeah. And grandma names is the thing that is my most popular video, actually. It's got the most views of all of it across everything. But it's because grandma names are so specific. Like, Gigi is a very specific lady, and she has a bag, and it sits on her arm right here, like a Louis Vuitton. It's like stuck there, and she's very wealthy. But then grandmothers are like kind of coastal in a way, and they're a little bit fancier. You got your Mimis, and they're like a step up from grandmas as far as like fanciness. They're a little bit fancier. They have good food. Mimas are the best food, but she'll whoop you, a little bit.
She cooks with lard.
She does cook with lard. She definitely cooks with lard. And then Yayas are fancy like Gigi's. There's a whole world of grandma names that you can choose from, and it's going to determine who you are. So you got to get it right.
But also the grandma name. The grandma or the kids?
That's the thing. The kids ultimately they choose, but you can sway them as they're learning to talk and like just repeat the name that you want over and over so that they get to it. But ultimately, whatever they say is what it's going to be. It doesn't matter.
Or you line those envelopes that you give the kids with money.
I gotta say,
love Gaga.
Exactly.
I gotta throw my brother under the bus for a second, because our grandma was Mimi, and I was 12 years old when I think my brother was born. So, I mean, it had long been established as a Mimi. One day, out of the blue, he starts calling her Rory, Rory. And I was like, who are you? You're not a part of this family. And that's what he called her his entire childhood. He was the only one. Isn't that so bizarre?
Wow.
Rory?
I've never heard of somebody coming in and changing the grandma name. That's power. He must be like high up in the family, a high-ranking brother.
He does have good hair.
So tell us about your family.
Well, there's a lot of people in my family, and my mom's side all lives out here where I am now, on the same street I grew up on, and that's where I live too. And then my dad's family, so we're like a mile outside of the town. My dad's family is inside the town, so they were city folk, and then we're the country people out here. So I got both sides of city, as far as city goes, as you can get in a small town in Mississippi, versus country. And they're just good people, like doing most of them are educators. And we have a really good time. I was talking about this earlier. When I was in 6th grade, we took the whole family on a charter bus to Washington, D.C. and filled up that 55-seater charter bus with cousins, and my uncle drove the bus. So that's the family. That is what I'm from. But it's the best way to grow up.
It is
cousins everywhere.
We used to have those moments in oil and jet fuel.
So did they have any idea what's happened to you online?
They do, but I don't know. You know, it's Mississippi. It's just me talking too much again, like I usually have been, and everybody's doing their own thing. So it's exciting. It's definitely exciting. It's taken a long time for for them to understand what this is, especially like the older members of my family. Like they have no clue.
Well, and now that you're not like going to your like day-to-day day job and you're at home,
Yes.
they're like, do they call you, hey Landon, can you do this? And you're like, I'm working.
Yes, we had to learn that I'm actually doing work, but I had to learn that too. I was so surprised. I got this idea that I was going to like not teach anymore, and I don't know if I thought I was like retired or whatever. But every day I'm working till like 6 or 7, and I'm like, what is this? I thought I was going to be not working. I thought I was going to be going home, and it was surprising me. So we're all learning to adjust to that.
Now,
and
what's the population? Where you live?
In the town, there's like 18,000, something like 16 or 18,000, and the county's got like 60, something like that around in there. So
Because you've also got
small.
the real popular couple from HGTV, and I can't think of their
Erin and
name.
Ben Napier, and they are wonderful. And I'm really grateful for them for this whole situation. They're still renovating all those houses in the town. There's plenty left. The first season, like if they had panned the camera, you would have been like, ugh. But now the whole town is really beautiful, and it's really, really done good things. But before they started, the town had started this rejuvenation process with like a Main Street Association. So it's been on the ups for a while, and I'm just so proud of it, because we used to like stomp around downtown in the abandoned buildings and like imagine what it would be like, and now they're all full and renovated and beautiful, and the homes are all renovated and beautiful. It's really nice to be in Laurel at this particular time period, and they're doing a lot of things to make sure that it lasts, and like protecting the town from Airbnbs taking over totally. Like they limited those so to keep the house prices down. Actually, Chip and Joanna Gaines brought a team from here to Waco before the show started here to kind of see like what not to do, like what problems did the show cause there, and so we kind of had a heads up on that. So it's been really transformational for the town. It's really, really great. And I'm grateful to Erin specifically, because when all this took off, I was like, what is going on? Help, and she got me in touch with the right people, and I got my literary agent from her and got the talent agent from there. So I got to skip the lines on all the nonsense, and I'll always be really grateful for that. It's just such an advantage. And the more I talk to people in this industry, the more I'm like, wow, I really skipped a bunch of nonsense there.
Now, have you been offered any book deals? Have they come at you with any TV deals? Yeah.
Oh yeah. I had after literally a month after the first video, I had all 4 of the top publishers in my DMs, and that's what I was like with Erin. I was like, what do I do? Like, I have no idea. So she got me in touch with her literary agent, and then she took it from there and did the negotiating. And next year in March, Bless Your Heart, A Field Guide to All Things Southern will come out.
Woo! I'm so excited because you are my guilty pleasure. I have to tell you, I have been arrested.
Yeah.
Almost once, but arrested one other. So it's 2 times in Mississippi since I have been an adult in the last 10 years by when it's in Meridian.
Yeah.
Which is next door
That lines up.
at the Best Buy. And it's kind of the ongoing actually, it was 10 years ago this week. And I had gone to a horse show there at Jackson. And we had everybody that worked for us and our girls and horses and trailers. And my husband was leaving to go to New York. And he said, hey, do you have some charger for my BlackBerry? I said, my gosh. I said, that's on the trailer. It's headed back home. I said, I need to go get an SD card and some other stuff at the Best Buy, and I'll pick you up one there. So I guess it's right about closing time, and I'm trying to watch the kids at the horse show with everybody I've left there. So it's about dark, and I'm watching it. And I'm walking around, and half the Best Buy is dark because they're getting ready to shut down.
Yeah.
And I have 2 people that work for me, and we're walking around, and we're asking them for wherever these little chargers are. And they're like, yeah, I don't know. My section's closed. I'm like, are you kidding? So in the meantime, I buy $600 worth of other stuff, lay it up on the counter, and I'm still watching the kids. And as I look down, there was a little mini in the checkout thing, the give you all the little things to buy, tchotchkes. And one had fallen down, and it had fallen out of a package. So like it didn't have a tag on it. It didn't have anything. So I'm asking them, do you know, I mean, is there a price to this? And the girl goes, I don't know. And my deal's turned off and the manager's not here and whatever. So I'm still holding it, but I'm watching, and I'm down to 2% to watch on my phone. So I pay for the $600 and something worth of stuff. Mm-hmm. Don't realize it's still in my hand. And because my ADD, now, it's a $3 cord. Now I'm still watching. And so they walk us out because they're getting ready to lock the store, and something beeps. So I hand the bag with the $600 and something worth of things to the security man. And I said, I'm sure that there's something they haven't taken off. And I'm down to 1%, and I'm just watching. He said, ma'am, that would be the stolen merchandise. And I was like, what? There's no stolen merchandise. I said, look, I just spent $600. He goes, in your hand. And I said, oh my gosh. And you can see me on the video. Well, they call the cops. Here comes cops from every direction. And it is like and I'm trying not to laugh because, and these cops were so nice when they came, and they were like, now what happened? And I said, I had it in my hand, but here's the other things that I bought. They brought the manager back up there. They apologized. And I said, well, here's $10. Just let me, it's a $3 cord. I don't care. I'm going to be in so much trouble if I leave here without the cord, and then all this brouhaha happens. And they said, we have to keep it for evidence to write up the report.
Oh my God.
But I ended up getting out of the back of the police car, but it was a kind of an ongoing joke. So my birthday was like a week later, and everybody dressed up in prison attire for my $3 cord. And then I was at Ole Miss, and we decided to throw and it's covered on ESPN, coming with A&M, we want to throw a righteous party in the middle of the Grove. Well, they give you these, as you know, Landon, these 10 by 10 squares. Well, things are bigger in Texas. So that 10 by 10 square just wasn't going to work for me. So my girlfriend that was in, I don't know if I should say the sorority, but she gets all her friends' daughters that are now in this sorority, and they are under the 10 by 10, and there's a huge tent over the top of it. So when each girl puts up their 10 by 10, now we have 20 something girls, and then they pull them under, and we have a 2,000 square foot tent.
Nice.
And we have what was the gentleman that came that won the James Beard Award, the chef. Why I think I forget his name. The famous chef there at Oxford, and he came and cooked. And we had it filmed. We had Oxford Florals come do all the florals. And by God, if their chancellor didn't show up with police to try to have me arrested, I said, if you'd pulled this shit at A&M, they'd have renamed the damn school after you, spending this much money in that town. And they wrote a letter to our school and said that I was the most obnoxious display of conspicuous consumption he'd ever seen. I said, my work here is
Oxford,
done.
Mississippi, that cannot be
much.
the truth. That cannot be true. That is wild.
I said, my work here is done.
Well, next time you're in Mississippi, we'll have to alert the authorities and be like, y'all just calm down
Calm down.
Just for like a week. Give us a second.
You need a little more toddy in your hottie. I need
those tailgating though at Ole Miss. I think people don't know how intense that is. That's
it
real.
is intense.
Is it like a
There's
blood sport?
chandeliers.
I
sort
have
of
chandeliers in mine.
in a way.
I'm going to send you.
Chandeliers?
I'm going to call
and you get it
Scott
catered.
Burton.
You
Yes.
get it catered. It's not at all a picnic. It's not a picnic. It's like
a six-figure undertaking for this one week.
It is. It's like
It's at
very
wedding
serious.
reception.
Okay, you have to take her. You have to take her to. You have to go to one now. Like it's gonna be so.
Well,
you're
we're
gonna love it.
coming.
It's wild.
And
it's not even.
It's
not even the game. It's not even about the game.
No,
it's about the tailgate.
it's the pre.
The tailgate
Yeah,
is what it's about.
What did you tell me you can get your degree in at Ole Miss?
Southern Studies. Did you know that?
My degree in history, the one I finally got, is in Southern society from USM, the history of Southern war and society. So there was like fun things, not fun things.
And I know you use that every day.
And that's wild because I used to be like, what a waste. I got this history degree, and now I feel like I do use it every day. I didn't use it for a long time, and then like media got really weird over the last few years, and history is all about like finding the bias in
Right.
the information, and that's pretty useful these days. So turns out I do use the history degree, just not in the history field. I feel like. So I guess I might just be like justifying it so my dad isn't as mad as he is about paying for like 4 different colleges. But
Well, tell us about how the book came about. Bless your heart.
Well, they all just showed up, and honestly, the first publisher that showed up was one from the UK, and he was offering like $10,000, and I was like, I'm rich, like let's do it. I was like, let's do it.
Bowl peanuts and Dr. Pepper
Do you know
for
how
everybody.
much dukes I can buy with $10,000?
Yeah.
Like public school teacher here. So, like I said, I got Erin involved, and then by the time the literary agent was there, all the other publishers were in my inbox. So we kind of just came up with a proposal and then shopped it around. And actually, I didn't take the highest offer. I took the second highest offer because it came with just the chance that Dolly Parton would like be part of the book. And I was like, done. Let's do that. It doesn't matter the pricing. So we'll see. I don't know if she will or not, but I took the company it was going to. So I went with Hachette, imprint of Hachette running press. And actually like a month ago, I just finally finished the like manuscript of it. They made me write that whole book. Can you believe I was just like,
You didn't even have help?
I was so surprised at how much I had to do, but it was really a good process for me because I don't have a graduate degree in anything. I like scraped through my bachelor's degree. So this project was huge and like a big undertaking. So I think it was I grew a lot, like more than I wanted my brain to grow this past year in life, like learning how to manage that and do that. But my wife is a specialist in education, and she specifically like worked with accommodations for SPED students. So she kind of like worked up accommodations for me to like make this happen, and with my ADHD, and we made it happen. And it was hard, but it was good, and it was really, really a fun process. And like 53,000 words later, there's a field guide, and it's going to be so much fun. And I even she did some of the sketches in it, like there's field sketches of like desserts and bugs from around here. But then I got my friend Adam Trest, who illustrated Erin's books, and he's from town, and he illustrated the book, or is illustrating the book right now. And so that's been really fun to get to work with him and work with her on it. It's just a beautiful project that I'm just so surprised by. I had no idea how much goes into writing a book and the details. Like after I turned the manuscript in, I had to go through like 9 editors that they go through, and it's people that were absolutely not from the South. So they would like highlight on the manuscript things that
what
didn't
is
make
a
sense.
double wide?
Oh my God. Well, the whole thing was red. Like the whole thing was just like one red document basically. And because of questions like that, like that, literally,
Right.
we ended up having to add in footnotes of like what things are and cross references of like throughout the book of like where this is, because they were like, what are you talking? I literally don't know what you're talking about. And I was like, this is a lot. So there's so many footnotes in the book, but it explains it all, breaks it all down, so it's really fun. Like if you're not from the South, it's literally going to be a field guide to all things Southern that you can literally learn from, and you'll be able to get all the information you need. If you're from the South, it's going to be very fun to like explore all those things that are very Southern, that we know are very Southern, but that until you like, I don't realize some things are very Southern until outside people bring my attention to it. So it's gonna be fun for everybody. I think it's gonna be a fun little book. I hope everybody loves it. I love the product at the end. So it was really a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun doing it.
Well, I have to tease. My daughter is named Kimball SInclair, and my favorite uncle was in Mississippi, Uncle Kimball, and they're related to J. Kimball Vardaman, who was going to be like your 7th governor or something like that. So
yes,
you have to call around in your family. Is it okay if I use this name? Mm-hmm. People don't understand that. And because it was a man's name, nobody's going to take any offense if I use it for my daughter.
Right.
I mean, you just wouldn't haul off and do it in there and then have a cousin go, I just named my son Kimball. What you going to do about that?
Right.
You
No,
know?
that's the truth.
It's the damn truth. So they may as well be family, own Buc-ee's. So my daughter's like, I did the research on my name, and like the person I'm named after started the Klan. And she goes, my middle name's an oil company. And I go, well, you could have been named Bucky. So
Yeah, you could have been named Bucky, and probably all of us have those things. So we're just moving forward and making a new version of it. You know, now she's Kimball.
Well, so what is next after the book? A book tour? Are you going to do?
There's a book tour at that's going to be exciting. I've been doing stand up for a little bit.
I was going to say,
started,
we have to
and I really love it. I really love it. So it's kind of I've got to show it in Charleston at the end of this month. The tickets are about to go on sale for that too, and that's going to be so fun. At the end of July, not June.
Is it under Landon Talks?
It'll be on my newsletter and on my page. I'll make a big announcement about it. It's going to be I'm going to tell y'all wrong. I'm supposed to keep up with where I'm going and what I'm doing, but
there's
somewhere.
Meds for that. There's
meds.
Also
I have a Terry. I have the meds.
Okay.
But I also have a Terry that does all the scheduling. So I just show up when I'm supposed to. I don't know what's going on all the time,
We call that around here. We call that the handler.
The handler.
Yes. I definitely need the handlers. So that's going to be in Charleston. That's going to be really fun. So the book tour is kind of it's going to be a question of, do we want to combine it with the stand-up tour? Because that's two different, that's auditoriums versus bookstore. So we'll see. I'm very excited. The future is really exciting. And y'all caught me at the end of, I took a month off to catch up. And that's silly. I'm not at all complaining about what I'm doing, but it's pretty relentless, and it got going really fast, and I was losing my creative ability. So I'm at the end of a refreshing month of just being able to make videos and catch up on things. And now we're going to get going again next month and see what happens.
So you sit there and you create all of these really wonderful educational Instagram, shorts talking about all the fun things that you talk about. Do you do all your own filming, editing, content creating, posting?
Oh yeah, it's very, very high tech. No, it's not high tech at all. It's literally me and my iPhone, and I just sit it up wherever on my little tripod, and I talk about whatever I feel like talking about that day, and then I just cut that down to a minute and a half, and that's what it is. And I feel like if I were to write it out ahead of time, it wouldn't be as genuine or authentic. So I kind of just riff off whatever things I can think of. So I look at that list and just scroll through, and whatever I feel like talking about that day, that's what I talk about. And ideally, I would love to get some done and be ahead, but
it never
in
happens.
Real life. No, in real life, I'll get the one done for the day, and I was gonna film so many, and I got the one done for the day, and I'm well, that was good.
Well,
that was good.
We talk about it all the time because people are like, what's your creative process? Because we obviously can't film and edit and do the podcast stuff ourselves. So we've got Reagan, our producer, who films it all. She edits it down for us. And then we've got a sound engineer guy who kind of goes in and does another swipe at the sound. He posts it to all of the platforms for us. He does the write-ups of the content. But on the back end, I do all the shorts editing. I do the posting. I do the, the graphics. And it's just like you said, okay, you're working for yourself, but you're working 24/7 some days.
Well, and it's relentless. You know what I'm talking about? With that kind of thing, it never stops. You don't get to be done with it for the day. And it's little tasks, but they all add up to be oh, you ended up working all day. I don't know. And I'm very bad at judging time. So I always am I'll be done by 11:30 this morning. And then 7:30 that night, I'm wait, what? How did this get off so bad? Because I make the backgrounds and stuff, but I've gotten the process to be pretty good. I knew, I don't know anything, but when I started, I knew I wanted it to be able to kind of be done from anywhere and kind of be done just as easily as possible. So I've kind of tried to keep it that way. But I think that there's a case for authenticness on the internet, that the algorithms like that. People like that kind of off the cuff type of a thing. So I'm just going to keep talking as long as people keep listening.
Do you get a lot of bullies?
No, not really. I think because I approach it from a kindness standpoint. It's strange. I was posting just randomly every now and then, teacher content, kind of not I didn't show the kids or anything, but I was just talking about being a teacher. And I was always, I'm a positive person, so none of it was ever negative, but I would get the meanest messages on teacher. People hate teachers. And it's very obvious on the internet, at least. That's where I got the most hate. So I got like used to it from that. But then from this, it's kind of like I've approached this from a theme of kindness and like being kind and accepting everybody no matter what side of things they're on, and like making this space where you can come no matter like your opinions and talk about what you want to talk about, and you're not going to be attacked. So I feel like approaching it from the beginning and like speaking to them from a level of kindness has kind of set the tone for it. And I think that comes from my 4-year-olds, because I was all about being kind in my classroom. Like, I would rather you be kind than anything. And even we would have like days where we're only going to be kind today. So like, instead of even saying like, that's a yellow shirt, I would be like, you would say that's a lovely yellow shirt. And I would like catch them, and they would like go back and redo it. So I don't know. Kindness is kind of a thing that I think is so important, especially after the last like few years in our culture, you know, like we kind of have been a little bit divisive. So I think it's turned into this thing where I love to have this table that everybody's at having this conversation, and like everybody's at the table. And so that's kind of my goal now, is to just get everybody at this table, even disagreeing on things, but we're still here seeing each other and respecting each other. And it's evolved into that. And I really love that.
I think everybody needs a little Landon in their life.
They do. Now, do you have a master book? Like, I know I do, that if you get up and go to the bathroom at 2 a.m, sometimes those are your best thoughts. Do you have something that you rush down? And I'm going to discuss that.
Just that list here on my phone. It's a long list. It's like pages long of, I just add anything to it. Like earlier today, my grandmother said, we're going to head there directly, you know, it'd be directly. People would say it, but directly. And that means like in shortly, we're fixing to head there, like in just a few minutes, you know? So I added that.
And we're not going to make any stops along the way. It's directly. It's from our house to the Methodist church directly.
Have you heard of the phrase, I best you get her?
I best you get her?
Yeah.
I'm sure I have.
I don't know. I've said it my whole life. Nobody in my family says it. And everybody looks at me and says, what's that mean? It says, I best you get her. It means, I guess you better, right?
Yes. That's what I thought. That's what I thought, but I was like, maybe I'm wrong. And it's things like, no, you probably didn't. They say stuff like that all the time, and it's little things like that are so fun. And it's stuff like that kind of that are just part of our day-to-day like language that it's hard to realize that is Southern and it is separate from what everybody else does. And that's what I love the most, when I'm surprised by something that we say that is not, that's just us, that we are the only ones saying that. I think that's so fun.
Kristi coins herself as kind of like the dialect queen. We can be anywhere, and somebody will say something with a different accent, tone, phrase, and she'll say, you're from, and she'll get it within probably 30 miles of exactly where they were born and raised.
Well, it's so specific, isn't it? It really is. You can, there's different accents. And that's why it's sort of hard sometimes to watch like movies about Southern people, where you can tell where people are from their accents. It's like very specific. Like if you're dropping R's, you're probably from South Carolina, you know, the R's are harder. You're from down here. Louisiana is its own thing. And it's even
down the bayou is a whole different thing.
That's a whole different thing. So it's like that's where they're making groceries over there. So I love that though, and I love that. But when you watch actors and actresses that are like Oscar-winning actors and actresses, and they do a Southern accent, it'll be all over the place. Like it'll be a Carolina accent mixed with the Georgia one, mixed with Mississippi, and you're like, what is this? It's like makes it hard to watch things sometimes, but it's fun when they get it right.
Well, Landon, we just love you. Thank you so much for coming on, and tell all the listeners, the viewers, where they can find you, where they can get a little dose of happiness every day.
Well, I've had a blast with y'all. I already think that we're best friends. But you can find me on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook as Landon Talks. On YouTube, I was feeling clever that day, and I made it Landon Talks a lot because they're a little bit longer. So I don't know, like somebody needs to get me. But that's where you can find me. And I have a newsletter you can sign up for that's really fun. And then the book will be coming out, and we've got lots of projects coming. It's just an exciting time.
And the book comes out when?
In April of next year, April of 2025. Actually, April Fool's Day, so I don't know like whose idea that was, but yes.
That's my birthday.
Well, my goodness gracious, I've got a birthday present for you then already.
You've just been the joy of my life today.
Y'all are so great. Thank y'all so much for having me.
Come back
really
and chat with us again.
Love you.
We
love
could
you.
dish with you We can dish with you again for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I would love to. I have no problem talking. Maybe that is the problem, talking too much even.
All right. Well, we'll be in touch and send us those dates, and we'll figure out what we're doing.
Okay.
Yay!
All
Thank
right.
y'all.
Say goodnight, Lucy.
Good night, Lucy.